Okay, so I guess we have to do this. This is the task we set for ourselves, and given ourselves a whole night to ponder, a whole night, another movie to kind of do a palate cleanser,
right.
And then come back, and I guess we got to talk about The Green Knight, but I'm kind of having a dilemma in that I don't know how to talk about The Green Knight.
There's a lot. I mean, honestly, for me, it's kind of broken up into two movies. To me, it's broken up into a good movie and then something tacked on the end. It's a good movie and an a film school art project tacked on the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. So for those who haven't heard of this movie, and I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't. So this is apparently based on an Arthurian legend.
So, yes.
Of the nephew of King Arthur.
Sir Gawain. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Yeah. It seems weird to say long story short, but as best we can, during a Christmas celebration, a Green Knight, which is a guy who's like all tree.
Yeah, he's kind of looks almost like the pagan, green god, or the horned man, or the many pagan symbols.
He's a more intimidating Groot.
Right.
All right. Comes to the Christmas celebration of Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Notice they never actually say Arthur. They never actually refer to him as King Arthur in this.
They don't?
No, they just call him the king.
Okay.
I don't even think they refer to him. Like, they never refer to any of the iconography. Like, when he hands him a sword, they never say, "Oh my God, it's Excalibur." They just kind of, imply heavily that that's what it is, but nobody ever actually says it.
Well, I just wonder if they're assuming the audience knows that, and they're allowing their audience's intelligence to work.
Possibly, but anyway, this tree guy says we're going to play a game wherein I'm going to allow anyone in here to take a swing at me, and whatever wound you make, 1 year later,
I'll pay back.
You have to come find me, and I'm going to give you the exact same wound.
Right.
It's like, who's got, whether it's a nick or, a stab in the gut, whatever you do to me, I'm going to do to you.
So, basically the story goes, none of the other knights will step up. Sir Gawain, who's not really Sir at this point, it's just Gawain, his nephew, he is basically looking for a way to prove himself, or be deserving of the honor of being Arthur's nephew
and heir apparent.
Right. So he's trying to make himself more known. Up to this point, the implication is he's a drunken, slovenly kind of lays about, and he hasn't really done anything up to this point. So he volunteers, he goes forward, he does the thing, and then we see his journey hence to reap his payment. Yeah,
basically, Arthur gives him Excalibur to fight the knight. He comes in, the knight goads him. He takes the bait and beheads the knight.
Right.
Which tree guy can just, put his head back on and says, "I'll see you in 1 year."
Here's the thing: I don't think that he goads him. He doesn't goad him. He puts his axe down. He kneels down, and he says, "Make any blow you want."
But he plays on his insecurities, and Prince Zuko there. Goes a little ape shit, because he's so insecure, and he makes the most deadly blow he can, and now basically the quest is not only that he has to go do this, but he has to go trying to figure out, am I going to let this, is the guy actually going to behead me,
Right.
So it's a journey to face your own death, essentially.
And I really think the implication with the beginning is that, do you show mercy or not? If you're not working in self-defense, if the person is just kneeling before you, do you show mercy or do you take their life? And it was showing his youth and his inexperience that he beheaded him. So anyways, this is based on an actual I'm gonna say it right, hold on. Chivalric poem. The chivalric poems of Arthur. Now look, I am a certified English and history teacher. And so the whole concept of King Arthur and his stories is right in my sweet spot. You know, I love the whole concept that, you know, there's this historic stories that everybody loves and everybody could, you know, probably has heard of King Arthur before, but when it comes down to it, we don't even know if he actually existed, if he's just a legend of fairy tales. Historians can't prove it either way, you know? And so it's just, it's kind of like the whole thing is pretty fascinating. And I think that the intention of it was good and interesting. Now, here's the thing. You said this must be somebody's passion project.
This is clearly, I think the thing you got to understand about this movie is this is not a film structured in the traditional way that you would be accustomed. This isn't a Marvel movie.
Right.
Okay? This is clearly somebody's, and I would assume the director's, passion project.
Well, yeah, he wrote it too. Okay,
he
did not have the right of way.
This is the film that he clearly has been dying to make. It's
right.
very clear that every shot is painstakingly staged and organized and planned. It's a very...
It's lovingly made. You can tell that a lot of love and blood and sweat and tears went into this.
You know, it is a visual storytelling.
Yes.
There is precious little dialogue.
Now,
it is relying very heavily on the visuals, the atmosphere, the costumes, the angles. You know, it's relying...
The camera work.
Yeah, the editing, the sound.
Even the title cards, the way that they're interspersed throughout.
Yeah.
Basically, they have them set up. The way that the chivalric poems are set up are, you know, you have a long epic poem and then you have little subsections, and they've broken up the movie into subsections of the poem to tell the whole story, you know. It's done by, this is A24 Studios. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, A24 tends to, even when they have something that's a more popular, more blockbuster kind of show, it's a lot more artsy.
Yeah.
Like The Witch, Midsummer, like...
Yeah, and I think artsy is the way to describe this. This is an art house project.
Right.
And now the question is... I believe very strongly that film, television, whichever way you want to go, it is art.
Okay.
It is artful. Even the most, you know, horrible of sitcoms or, you know, pretentious of hour-long dramas require a great deal of skill and art to make them. I believe they are just as important as literary art or visual art, like sculpting or painting, and it has its different levels. Now, the film and television industry and the theater industry to a lesser extent, or not even to a lesser extent, is much more dependent on the business side of it. You need money to do things on the scale that this movie is done.
Oh yeah, it was. So, like you said, it's well done. It had very high production value.
Yeah. So to truly, that's kind of the catch-22 a lot of these artists find themselves in, is to justify a studio giving you money. You have to prove to them this is something that is going to get paid back to them. They are going to make money on this. You know, now some studios like A24, again, I think they're a little bit more lenient. They're a little bit more interested in the art side of it, but the fact remains, you have to say this is going to appeal to an audience, not all audiences, but an audience.
Right.
So the question that I find difficult to answer as I'm watching this is, am I watching something? Am I watching a drive home review? Am I watching something that the director made because they wanted to, or am I watching something that is trying to appeal to an audience? Because I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. As I watch this, I just, at every turn, it feels like this film does not give a shit if an audience is engaged.
I would disagree. I would definitely disagree. And I think that part of that is like, I am the target audience more for a film like this. Okay? I enjoy those artsy. I love the artsy horror movies like The Witch, or like the one we just saw the trailer for, The Lamb. Like, that's my jam. So I was totally engaged in that aspect of it.
But here's the thing, and when I say engage, I'm not meaning is an audience going to like it. I'm speaking more from the school of thought of theater of the absurd, where alienation is the point. They don't want an audience relating to the characters or relating to the situation. They want them alienated from the work so that they can appreciate the work. So when I look at this movie, I see a film that is not attempting to engage me as an audience member, because it wants me to keep that distance so that I can appreciate the way the story is told. That's the feeling I got.
I would still disagree with you, because a common thought that I had as I was watching this feels like Garwin is a millennial or a Generation Z person who is struggling to find their way and figure out what they're doing. So I found him to be relatable in that scenario. I would disagree with you on that, and not to mention the character of Saint Winifred, like a girl who is being attacked or has been assaulted and violated, and she's just searching for justice. Like,
I think the section of Saint Winifred is probably the best part of the movie, in my opinion. I thought that was the best section. That was the closest I got to being engaged. I thought in that section, all the stuff that had worked in parts throughout the rest of it, because the visuals are stunning.
Oh, they're gorgeous. I was just in awe.
It is a masterpiece in terms of cinematography and, like I say, every technical aspect. The sound design of the Green Knight,
the giants,
of just how every time he moved, he sounded like a bunch of trees being ripped down. Mm-hmm. You know, just the makeup.
There's these shots of the forest with the mist and the green trees that make you think, like, I don't care if I would get murdered here, I would still go and see this place right here.
You know,
I'd still be glad to be in this place. Like,
so the visuals, and I mean, like I say, it's a gorgeous movie to look at. But I felt in the section with Winifred, I think that's the part where all of the elements came together finally, and I felt like everything gelled perfectly. And I feel like in most of the other sections, I felt something was a little off or missing, or there was something keeping me from fully engaging with the material.
Yeah, I think it's just like, I think it might just be a perspective thing, because I was totally in that up, like I said, and we discussed this last night, up until the point where they deviated from the original story at the end, like the last 20 minutes when he has this whole like flash forward thing. Like, I was with it until they deviated from the story and it went off the rails for me, and that's where I got taken out of it.
Like I say, I was always about 10% out of it, except for that one point. And again, this is trying to engage with the material. It's very, very difficult. I also got to say this, and I don't know the structure of the original poem, but I think it's a bad idea that you do a scene where our hero meets giants directly after a scene where you show him tripping on shrooms. Because I'm sitting there going, wait, is he tripping right now? You know, like
Well,
I was very unclear as to whether or not. It took me a little bit to kind of go, okay, all right, this is really happening. To kind of go, wait, is he tripping? Is he tripping balls?
Well, I think that like both of those things, they go more in depth in the poem, you know. But obviously, I mean, it was already over 2 hours.
Yeah, it was a long one.
Like, obviously, you couldn't have put all of that in, but no, like I thought there was enough delineation there. Like I said, like this appealed to me. Like the colors appealed to me, the characters appealed to me. The shots, like the beginning shots where it's just like geese in the courtyard and the snow is falling down, and it was just like, I mean, you just have this feeling. And then the way that they did the sound design too, where a lot of times it's completely silent except for the sound of whatever happens, like the horse's hooves walking down the road. And then sometimes they've got this really jarring kind of almost electronica, but almost like it's electronica lute music from the medieval times. And then they incorporate the sounds around it, like dripping water and things. Like, maybe it was jarring, maybe it was uncomfortable, and it is kind of the whole theater of the absurd film. What's the German film thing where it's like trying to make you feel uncomfortable? Like, maybe it is that, but maybe that just appeals to me. I don't know.
And again, that's kind of the question with a film like this. This isn't a film you can really rate from a go see this is great, or this is definitely more. All films are subjective, but this one is
very subjective.
This is very much, like you say, what you dig, you know,
right?
And how, you know, how much you connect with, you know, with the material and the way it's done. Again, I have great respect for the film and great respect for the director, who clearly had a vision and it was meticulous.
Well, and the thing is too, like when we did the old review, we talked about how M. Night Shyamalan did the camera sweep thing, but his was very disjointed and choppy, and it wasn't smooth. Whereas I really feel like the way that they move the camera here, a lot of times when they swoop the camera around or go upside down or sideways or that kind of thing, it makes me feel like nauseated, or, you know, it just like, you know, I can't watch it. But it was so smooth and well done with this one that I didn't really have to look away from that.
Yeah, I think this is a film that would be interesting to watch again, to study the visual language of it. But I don't know if I would watch it again because I want to see it again. You know,
see, I would probably watch it again just for the pleasure of the visuals, like you said, and, you know, to kind of go back and catch things that I didn't really. I kind of got a little bit in the first watching, but didn't really click until later, like the fact that his prostitute girlfriend is also, I'm sorry, I shouldn't use that term, I should say sex worker. His sex worker girlfriend is the same person as a person he meets later on down the line. And I didn't really catch that in the first viewing.
Yeah. So, like you say, it's a film that would be interesting to watch again, at least for me, for a film study.
Right.
But if you're asking me, am I going to watch this film again because I just loved it so much and I got to put it in my regular rotation? I'm a different breed of cat. We all have our things. I like to connect with characters.
Right. Well, okay.
And their situation.
So characters besides Garwin, like acting, I feel like they got some pretty good names in this. They got Dev Patel. You know, they've got Joel Edgerton in here. A girl who I am quickly becoming a fan of, Kelly Wildman. Is that her name? She's the Winifred. She also played in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What was the name of that? Flag Smasher?
She was the leader of the Flag Smashers.
Erin Kelly is, I can't remember now, but yes, she is like I'm becoming more impressed with her as I see her.
I will agree with that. I'll agree with that. I believe the acting was all
too stylized for you.
No. I believe it all worked in the style the director wanted. I think it was very clear the director had a vision for all aspects of the production, including the way the actors were going to perform. But if you're asking me if a performance stood out, or if I thought anybody was particularly good, or a character really grabbed me, it was all of them were so disconnected from any kind of connection to the audience that I couldn't really land on it. I spent more time going, why are they doing this? What is happening? That whole section where he's at the one dude's castle is like just
jarring.
It's fucking jarring. It's like, why is Grandma walking around with the blindfold on? You know,
but she's had the same kind of blindfold on as the mom. And
I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, what is this? And I love how he just doesn't comment on it. He's just like, all right,
but okay,
there's Grandma with the blindfold.
I just think that Dev Patel did such good work in this. Like, I know that we're gonna disagree on this, but like the part, okay, when he's being attacked in the forest, and like he's just got the tears sitting in his eyes, and he's just got panic on his face, like that was kind of hard to watch.
See, we're not going to disagree. I think Dev Patel is a very good actor. I think he's an interesting actor. I've seen him. He's been on this show several times for several different films and types of performances. I think he's a very good actor. And again, this is a difficult film to talk about because I think the acting worked great as the paint it was intended to be, as the color it was intended to be.
Okay.
If you look at this film as a piece of art or a painting, and all the different aspects of filmmaking are a different color, the acting worked for the color that it was supposed to be. It did its job. Okay. So, and all the actors are very clearly on the same page in tune with the director's vision, which is vital in a situation like this. And you can tell films where they are not all on the same page.
The Arthur, I cannot remember who plays Arthur in this. It was on the tip of my tongue, but I just thought that his characterization of Arthur was so good as the older Arthur.
It's an interesting one because it's not one you really see that often.
No. And I just thought it was just so well done. And the representation of Queen Guinevere was like, I mean, but I don't know, like, if I was just judging off of the parts of this film up until that last little section, like, I would be completely entranced with it. Like, this would be on the top of my list of things to watch and rewatch, just for myself, just to enjoy the visuals and the costumes. We haven't even talked about the costumes.
Were gorgeous.
Oh my God. But, like, the part that has been throwing me is that last added section. And kind of the way they ended it. And without, I would say, talk about how, like, it was jarring and you couldn't, like, he was trying to make you feel a little uncomfortable. And maybe part of that was just ending it without giving a real release to the audience. You know, you didn't really have time to let your breath out. It was just done. You know? So. Yeah. I don't know.
So now here comes the hard part. Any other thoughts before we move on to kind of wrapping this one up? Any other things you want to point out, or?
Well, we talked about how Arthur movies don't do well. I think probably the only one that did what one would consider to be successfully in the box office was probably A Kid in King Arthur's Court. You know, like
Even that, I'm not sure how many people would remember.
Maybe The Sword in the Stone.
The Sword in the Stone, the Disney version, is by far the most well known, but even that, when it came out, was not as big a hit as a lot of the others. Probably the only reason it's really survived is because it has the Disney machine behind it, and things like the Disney Channel and all that that reran it a lot back when I was a youngster. So, things like that. But yeah, basically Arthur films are not big money makers, and they've tried everything.
Like if they put a blockbuster guy in there, if they make him really like tough, or if they make him really, they just don't do well.
They did a Pirates of the Caribbean version with Keira Knightley. They did a romantic film with Sean Connery and Richard Gere. They've done a lot of. They've tried, and it just seems like
it doesn't
the
work.
Arthur films just don't connect with an audience.
But I think part of it is that those stories are such stylized pieces of literature. They're chivalric poems. They're supposed to be brighter and shinier and more colorful than real life, and that's why I think this kind of treatment of it, of making it more stylized and more visual, is probably the only way for it to be successful. Anyways, that's my last thought.
Okay, well, I think it's a good last thought. I think that sums it up fairly succinctly. So, this is going to be the hard part for me. Final grade for The Green Knight.
So, it's an A- for me. And the thing is it would be an A+ if it hadn't been for that last section. But I think the rest of the movie has such a, like, I have been like just thinking of the movie and over, and parts of it that I enjoy just consistently since I watched it, and the visuals of it. So, like, if it hadn't been for that last section, that was what took it down for me. Okay.
I don't know how to grade this one. I legitimately don't. Because I've been doing these reviews now for almost 3-4 years, however long. And in that time, I've seen movies that fail because they're incompetent. I've seen movies that fail just because they are repulsive. I've seen movies that fail, for all sorts of reasons. And every now and then, a film like this comes along where I find myself in a quandary because the film itself is good. Objectively, it is a good movie, but it doesn't fit my tastes. So, if you're asking me again, if I'm going to go rewatch this film, the answer is probably no. I'll probably forget about it in this time next year when I'm looking back and going, wait, what was that? Oh, fuck yeah. But as I'm looking at it, as I'm watching it, again, the care, the love. This is not a hack director. These are not bad actors. This is not a bad script. This is not a bad concept. It is an artistic piece, and the best I can say on this one is I will respect it as that artistic piece, even if it does not reflect, my choices in artistic expression. So I'm going to come down in the middle, and I'm going to go a solid B on this one.
Oh.
Because I feel like giving it anything lower is disrespectful to the work that went into it.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider we went and saw a movie by an actual hack. Right after it. So you can see the difference. I can't honestly say I loved it, but I cannot disrespect the work that went into it by giving it anything lower. So I think I'm going to end on a B for me. Yeah. So that's me.
So watch it, Amy.
Watch it if you really if you're looking for something different.
If you liked The Witch and if you liked Midsummer, then I would say yes, you should watch this.
Yeah. Okay. So there you have it. Not an easy film to talk about. Not an easy, which is funny because I think that's kind of the reason the film exists, is to be talked about.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that it's not easy to talk about, but maybe that's the point. All right. So wow. So.
And I definitely need one of his like velvet cape things with the.
Oh yeah, those were cool. Yeah, those are nice.
Those. Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. We did it. Yay! So thank you for coming along on this this little exploration into film and literature theory with us.
Just tell me for true and for honest, did you just not give it an F because you were afraid that a year from now he would come back and cut off your head?
No. I've taken on bigger fish than him. All right. I gave a mediocre review to Wonder Woman. And to A Star Is Born. Dissing this film doesn't scare me. So, all right. So, thank you all for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back with more reviews. And as always, drive safe. And we will see you at the movies.